Now, Audi launched the A3 back in 1996, and it's still quite a familiar shape. But underneath, it's a very, very different machine. Nowadays, you've got a range of different engines in the A3, and probably the engine that people enjoy most is the one that's in the S3 because, well, it's fast and loud, so who wouldn't enjoy that? But now there's a 1 litre 3-cylinder engine in the A3, and that's what I'm in at the moment. The 1 litre is essentially the entry-level engine for the whole Audi A3 range. But don't let that put you off, because although it's a 3-cylinder engine, and probably, as I said, you're going to be more excited by the engine in the S3, 3-cylinder engines, sometimes they're quite good fun. It's got 116 brake horsepower, 148 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60 takes 9.7 seconds, and the top speed is 128 miles an hour. And actually that's pretty respectable for a 3-cylinder engine in a car of this size, and part of me wonders, what would it be like with some sort of tune? Who knows, maybe someone will find out. It's a very quiet engine, it's a very refined engine. And because it's turbocharged, I was expecting there to be a point in the revs where you suddenly kicks in and takes off. And to be fair, there is that, about 2,500 RPM. If you're pulling away, for example, you put your foot down, that's when you get that power pull. But after that, the power is very flat, it's a very straight line. There's no sudden drop off towards the top either. Now you can get a 6-speed manual gearbox like I've got at the moment, or you can get a 7-speed double clutch gearbox. This 6-speed is actually really, really nice. It's quite a long throw, but it's a very mechanical feeling shift. I'm surprised at how nice it feels actually. And a lot of people will buy this car for the economy because it should get around 60 miles to the gallon. But if you're looking for economy, there is an alternative. This is that alternative. It's the A3 E-Tron. And the E-Tron is the first plug-in hybrid in Audi's history. Now, what's different about the E-Tron? Well, it's got a 1.4 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine rather than a 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo, and it's got an electric motor powering the wheels as well. And rather than a manual gearbox, you can only get this car with a 6-speed DSG gearbox, which surprised me because I thought it would be a 7-speed, but never mind, it's a 6-speed double clutch gearbox. There's also a difference in price. The E-Tron, the base price for the E-Tron is £35,000, which is quite a lot more than the entry-level A3. And this particular car is £42,000. That's quite a big premium for economy. Now, whereas that 3-cylinder A3 could get 50, 60 miles per gallon, the claimed figure on this is more than 150 miles per gallon. Now, of course, I'm sure in the real world you can't actually get that figure, but that's perhaps why you're paying such a premium, because on paper at least, this can do so much more mileage on so little fuel. 0 to 60 takes 7.8 seconds, and the top speed is almost 130 miles an hour, which is pretty quick. And I have to say, it does feel pretty quick. But what is spooky is when it's in EV mode only, when it's just running on the battery power, it just sounds like a gale. If you're inside and there's gale force winds outside, you can hear a draft coming through a crack in a window. That's what this sounds like. It sounds like a wind. It's just spooky. And 0 to 39 miles an hour takes 4.7 seconds in EV mode. There's a figure I didn't know I'd be quoting today. And you can do about 81 miles an hour just purely on electricity. Now, as I said, it's their first plug-in hybrid, so it takes 2.5 hours to charge, or 3 hours if you're doing it from just a standard socket, which isn't that long. And as a range extender, as a way of boosting your car's efficiency and the mileage you can do on electric power, it's a really, really good system. And what I particularly like though is if you get home and you charge your car, even if you've got petrol in it, you may never need to use that fuel, because if you live a short distance from work, just charge it up, drive to work, drive back, charge it up. Now, the A3 in general is very, very comfortable on both the cars I've tried. What I can notice between the 3-cylinder car and then the E-Tron is the extra weight. This weighs more than 300 kilos more than just a standard A3, so you can feel that weight. And again, it's very smooth, very comfortable and very relaxed when I'm driving it, and it's surprisingly quiet, but I can feel that extra weight when I get to a corner. What I've also noticed is that the steering is very light. I'm not getting loads of information coming back through the wheel, but the gearbox, again, I love the fact that it's a double clutch gearbox, because it makes a difference to your driving experience. When someone earlier on from Audi, I said, well, what gearbox has it got? Is it a CVT? They kind of went, nah, No, it's a double clutch. And I'm really glad they've got that in here because it adds some fun. Double clutch gearbox just adds some fun to the ways cars drive because they're so snappy. Looks wise, it's still that familiar recipe really. It's the same basic shape as that first A3 we saw back in the 90s, but year by year they improve things, they tweak things, and little details change here and there. Inside though, it's a very modern, very fresh Audi interior. Everything feels very well built. It's the same standard Audi recipe of just solid build quality. Is it worth buying the E-Tron? Well, I have to say it's an amazing bit of kit, and actually it's still good fun, and that comes down to the DSG gearbox. That just makes the driving experience quite entertaining. So which one out of the two would I buy then? The 1 litre 3-cylinder A3 or the E-Tron? Personally, I think I'd still just buy the normal A3. I can't justify that big a price difference for the sake of a larger MPG figure, and I know it's a larger MPG figure on paper, but in the real world I don't think it will quite make it. But I suppose if you were really into that electric powertrain stuff, perhaps you had a Prius or something else like that before, an electric car, and you just thought, yeah, do you know what, I want something like an Audi, a premium brand, but I want that with an electric powertrain, then that starts to make sense.